maybe we are the aliens from the past that have evolved or changed ourselves into this form, and we
Well,
forgot,
that's another
we
that's another
forgot.
theory altogether.
Uter Spachi,
Outer space.
outer space.
Outer space. Episode 3 of Unanswered Oddities
Yeah, I
by
like this
special
show.
request.
Yeah, somebody requested it.
People requested it.
I did not prepare their name. I don't remember who it was, but they're somewhere in the comments on the other ones that we did. So
shout out that
to
guy.
that guy.
Shout out them.
I think it's two of them. There's two guys. So yeah, thanks for this suggestion. I mean, we were going to do it anyway, probably, but thanks for the suggestion. We like it too, just as much or if not more than you do.
That's debatable.
Unanswered
On
Oddities.
tonight's episode of Unanswered Oddities, Uter Spachi, the final frontier, the vast unknown, the big dark thingy with shiny little specks. Thanks to the all-truth of the monolith, we know that Uter Spachi is not a feasible destination for Glorans, but it still makes one wonder, are we alone? Some think we are not. The city of No, 15 seconds outside of Deedle. One Gloran claims to have been abducted by beings from Uter Spachi.
Oh yeah, I'm a big silly nilly. I went and got myself abducted by some cosmic lizards, and they took me up into their silver wizamadoo. And wouldn't you know it, they were
Sounds
so
Canadian.
nice. They gave me a bath,
Right.
and they proceeded to cut off some of my skin, and that was the most horrific pain I ever experienced. At some point, though, when they were slowly cutting into my flesh, I must have flinched and scared one of the fellas, the poor thing, because it let out this terrible shriek, and my heart just melted for the little guy. I was like, honey, you can take all the skin you want.
The current stance of the monolith is that Uter Spachi can neither
What
be
is he?
reached nor traveled. Any claims otherwise are subject to lifetime imprisonment or
He's like a
non-fatal stabbings by a
man in
jury
black.
of your peers.
He's what? Men in Black?
Like a man in black, one of those feds.
Yeah, but I mean,
Covering
it
it
looks
all
like
up.
he's like an ant or something. Like, what kind of alien?
Oh, what are any of them?
species is
Oh,
this?
yeah.
Yeah, what are any of them? Yeah, true.
What are any
Well,
of
the
these
one
people?
is kind of like Jabba the Hutt or something. Like no, not the announcer. There was another one.
The
in one of
narrator,
other episodes that was
Yeah, right.
like this big
The presenter.
glob. No, the presenter is not. He's like a fat guy, right? Fat
Yeah.
alien guy. No, I'm talking about the blob thing. You remember?
Oh,
Another
right, yeah.
episode? Or am I?
I think he was just a witness who saw humans once.
Yeah,
He was just up for a lurk.
Well, it's like Jabba the Hutt or Pizza the Hutt. I'm thinking of also Pizza the Hutt, maybe,
Pizza the Hut.
if you remember him from Spaceball. No, it's Spaceballs,
Totally
right?
do. Spaceballs.
The way that humans
Yeah.
tell it is that Uter
This one.
Spachi got banged into existence.
Oh, he's the
Imagine,
scientist.
if you will,
Okay.
some celestial Casanova blowing a load of star batter into an empty vacuum cleaner. It would have been quite the sight.
The grand scale of Uter Spachi can be
this is
hard
the-
to
this is
grasp
the
for
announcer I
some.
was thinking of, but it's not.
Where the f am I?
Since we last spoke to her, Gegi Burlad was taken into custody by the Monolithic Bureau of Insinuation for her illegal claims of creatures from Uter Spachi.
Oh yeah, so I'm in the slammer now. Old Geggy's a convicted criminal. You know, they don't let us sleep and they got us on these regularly scheduled electrocutions, but it's not so bad in here. I befriended a wall, and one of the gals said she wants to rip my eyeballs out so she can play marbles, and I think that's just neat.
I do not recall a Gegi Burlod. I do not recall her offering me cookies upon arresting her. I do not recall eating said cookies. I do not recall saying yummy after every bite. I do not recall this very conversation.
Are we truly alone? Do we go home every night and stare at the ceiling in solitude, thinking about those who we've wronged because of one stupid decision after a friend's birthday jam? Call me back, Ragnora. Please, I swear I've changed.
I guess that's his girlfriend,
Yeah.
his ex-wife.
Partner? Rick
Partner.
Mora. Yeah. Well, this whole show is kind of like a conspiracy deep dive into. Well, I don't know. It's like
Oh yeah. It's like
things that we take for granted, but
right.
in the
No,
far
it's like
future,
turning the conspiracy world inside out in a way, like, you know what I mean?
yeah, for things that are pretty well understood, like outer space. I mean, but
Right.
well,
right.
not that it's really understood, but we know it's there. I mean, it's a thing. I mean, space exists, right?
Right. But it sounds like to them it's a word that, like humans, right? It's something from their distant past, and so that's why they pronounce it weird, and they don't really, they've lost the, whatever knowledge of traveling to space that we once had.
Right. So
Right.
I don't know if these are actual. Well, if they're aliens from outer space,
Right. Are they aliens or are they just humans in the future?
are they
that,
humans that have evolved or mutated,
devolved?
devolved? Yeah, so far in the future that then just unrecognizable.
Right. Well, I mean,
So
you think about like body modification and how, people today, get piercings, tattoos, and even scarification, like branding and stuff like that. And then, you think about genetic engineering that's, already happening,
yeah.
like
Well, yeah, of course,
selecting,
genetic engineering,
selecting
and of course,
your baby's eye color or height or hair color, things like that.
and if people were living in caves like troglodytes, eventually they'd become almost, like those geckos or the lizards that live in caves. That
Well,
they don't need the eye. The eyes grow bigger, and
that's another possibility.
Conspiracy
But
theory.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about specifically just, if humans in the future have the ability to modify their own DNA to, become whatever, form
right.
they want, then you're definitely going to have people modifying themselves to look like aliens. That'll be the first thing some people do. I guarantee
I could
that.
see some people going for that. Yeah,
There definitely be
the
people who do that.
alien look might become
You ever seen the
popular.
guy that's trying to turn himself into a tiger with tattoos and piercings?
Oh yeah,
and
it's got
then,
the metal whiskers, and the one
Yeah.
is like the whole lizard.
yeah, the
they've
lizard guy.
tattooed
There's
all the
all kinds of
scales
people
and
like
everything.
that.
There's people like that.
So yeah, it could just be us in the future.
It could be like, hey, do you want an extra arm? Wanna come on down?
Yeah,
You want 6 fingers? Well, come on down.
maybe that's what the aliens are waiting for, so that way they can just blend in. They'll just be like, yeah, we've always been here, but we didn't want to show ourselves because we wouldn't blend in.
But then that could be the humans from the future. The aliens are actually the people from the future coming back to visit because they got so totally modified and bizarre looking that they're like, we got to figure out what we originally looked like. And then so they come back in time, which in UFOs to discover like their lost humanity. That's the argument for that.
Yeah. Maybe we are the aliens from the past that have evolved or changed ourselves into this form, and we forgot.
That's
you know,
another
we
thing. That's
forgot.
the theory altogether. That's the one where like why do people human beings have 2 less chromosomes to all the other primates? They've
do
been
we?
like
I didn't know
genetically removed. Yeah, there's like this gap in the human DNA sequence.
So what?
And
We've
they
got
think-
23 pairs of chromosomes, right? How they've got 24 pairs,
Yes.
or I didn't know
Yes.
that. Okay.
And if you look at the DNA sequence of human beings, there's a kind of like that looks like it's been, like melded and snipped
Really?
in one little section. Yeah,
Had not heard that.
that's just one of those conspiracy theories out there.
That's
Well, it's not a conspiracy theory; it's a fact, but
It's a fact.
it's a theory that
It's a
that
conspiracy fact.
someone or something manipulated the DNA in the distant past.
Has that been coined yet? We've got conspiracy theories. Has anybody talked about conspiracy facts? I haven't heard that yet. That might be a new one. Maybe I just started something.
Conspiracy
I don't know.
fact.
Conspiracy fact.
I think all of them are turning out to be fact.
It's not a theory.
A lot
It's
of
conspiracy fact. Yeah, some of them are for sure.
it's proven. Well, then if we stop being a conspiracy, it'll just be a fact.
Well, no. If
It's
it's
just-
ac-
it's a
if it
con-
was actually a conspiracy, meaning people conspiring to.
Oh, right. Well, then it is a fact. Like,
right.
it was a conspiracy fact that they stabbed Julius Caesar. That's a conspiracy fact.
Right. That's a conspiracy fact. That's an
It
actual
was a conspiracy, and they pulled it off, and so it's a fact.
Yeah. People have forgotten what the word conspiracy actually means because of conspiracy theories becoming so popular and conspiracy
being so kooky.
Huh?
Some conspiracy theories being so kooky and out there that it just tars all conspiracies with that.
Yeah, of course.
Brush that, like, oh, those guys are all whacked.
People use it
they're just conspiracy.
as a way to dismiss anything that
dismissive. Yeah, a way to dismiss any
their beliefs.
To dismiss any criticism or investigation into somebody. Yeah. Well, that's a conspiracy.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
In space, no one gives a. In space, no